I'm glad kwa sababu leo tuko na Reverend Mahoya in the house today. Yeah, and tunazidi kuzungumza tu mambo ya wanaume, of course, wanaume and stress, you know, men and stress. And today we'll be focusing more on the causes, you know, the causes of stress, and not only the causes but also the effects of stress. Kwa sababu stress iko na effects zake na si chache. Stress iko na major effects na sio stress chache, sio effects chache, right? Kwa sababu there are people ambao sahi as we speak, people have been put 6 feet under kwa sababu ya kitu inaitwa stress. Kuna watu ambao of course marriages are not working any longer. Why? Kwa sababu kulikuwa na stress that was never managed, so kukakosa what we call stress management. Many things are happening today because of this thing we call stress. Na kwa sababu the man of God is in the house, our guest today, najua ataweza hata kuturedefine ama kutukumbusha what this stress is. And one of the ways unaweza kuzungumza nasi leo, maybe usizungumze nasi sana leo kwa SMS ama kwa WhatsApp. Leo ningependa our conversation iende pale kwa Facebook. Yes, enda pale katika Facebook page, that is MBCI TV Facebook page pale, and you get the conversation that we've already started. You know, this conversation is live on Facebook pale MBCI TV, and as we start, as you follow through the conversation, that is where you get to drop your comment. That is where you get to drop your answer. Like, for instance, I've asked the question, what are the major signs? What are the major signs of stress in men? What is a major sign of stress in men? So you can speak to us pale katika Facebook page, and yes, on the Facebook page ukiandika hapo, I'll be getting your name. Number one, I'll get your maybe you can tell us your name, you can tell us where you're watching us from, and you can also now kuchangia na kutuambia in the story that I've just shared, kwa hiyo story ambayo nimepeana ya huyu ndugu, yeah, the stress that I've just shared about this brother. Number one, how is it that how would you rate this woman, the behavior yenye alifanya, ile tabia yenye alifanya, wewe unaweza kusema nini kuhusu hiyo? What would you say about that? Number two, do you think that this man should have been held liable ama accountable, ya kwamba maybe maybe he should have known better that I should have known better that it is a Wednesday, that it is a Valentine's Day, that ni siku ya kubai maua. Now, should we exonerate him? Tunafaa kumsamehe, asamehewe ama asisamehewe? Okay, I'll tell you later kama mlango ilifunguliwa. I'll be telling you that later kama mlango ilifunguliwa. But that is a case, as I said, we were handling it on a Wednesday night, the Valentine's Day, hiyo tukiwa hapo kwa radio usiku. Now, before maybe tuende mbali sana kwa sababu kuna mambo mengi nishakwambia, unaweza kutuzungumzia pale katika Facebook. Yes, hapo MBCI TV, write the comment, give us the answer to the question, the major signs of stress in men. Give us the major signs of stress in men. All right, that's number one. And number two, the second one, tell me now, do you feel or do you think that this woman was justified, yeah, could treat the husband the way alimtreat, yeah, in fact including influence watoto? Unajua sasa watoto waliwekwa kwa mix ambayo haikukuwa yao, yeah, so watoto wakawekwa kwa mix yenye si yao. Watoto wakaambiwa wasisalimie baba, so baba anakuja anajiongelesha, baba anajiwekea chakula mwenyewe hiyo siku, baba akienda kulala nakuta mlango ya bedroom imefungwa. Na kwa sababu gani? Hata saa hii sofa hajajua makosa, baadaye anajua, ndio anaambiwa anaambiwa leo ni Valentine's Day, maua yangu iko wapi? Now, how do you rate that woman? What would be your advice to her as well? Lakini kwanza, first things first, kwanza tujiunge pamoja na our guest today, ambaye ni none other than Reverend Sami Mahoya. Karibu sana mtumishi wa Mungu.
Thank you very much, sir.
And most welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
You are doing well?
Niko salama kabisa.
Powerful.
Leo tukamtuma Bwana Kagi maeneo mengine. Kuna kazi anafanya leo ya muhimu sana. Kuna kitu anafanya very very important.
Powerful.
Na ambacho pia kina uguzo sana kwa maisha ya kesho ya mwanaume.
Great.
Yeah, especially a good work.
Yes.
How has your week been? Unajua
My week has been great.
Yes.
Just very busy and tight. Trying to coordinate a few things here and there.
Yes.
And managing stresses.
Now.
And stressors.
Now that you have been managing stresses and stressors, kindly just remind us, because probably especially our guests ambaye maybe hajawahi interact na Reverend Samuel tena, atuambie, and who is Reverend Sami Mahoya and what does he do, by the way?
Reverend Sami Mahoya is a pastor. I'm also a principal of TVET College here in Nakuru, KTTI, and a Kingdom Seekers Church.
Yes.
Reverend Sami is also a trainer in Christian ministry, chaplaincy, leadership, Christian theology, and so forth. I'm also a family man.
Yes.
I'm married, one wonderful wife, and blessed with 2 boys.
Wow. Glory to God.
But I'm a capacity builder. I'm wired to build people.
Yes.
I'm a people builder.
So you are a people builder.
People builder.
So anything that has to do with people,
that is where I land with all my tools.
Yes.
And my focus is the head.
So wewe tools zako ni za kufungua kichwa na kuibadilisha.
Kichwa.
So unaweza
give me the head.
Yes.
I have the tools.
Yes.
Yes. But I also deal with the heart.
Yes.
But I think majorly I believe my personal mission in life is to unlock the mind.
Yes.
Because I believe when you unlock the mind, problems affecting humanity grow smaller.
All right.
So, and I believe what makes people get stuck in life is ignorance, lack of information, that is.
Yes.
And the other thing that makes people really have challenges in life is lack of courage. Therefore, my mission as a person is to unlock the mind, inspire courage in people, because I believe once you do these 2 things, people can solve their important problems. But it's not possible to solve problems in life.
Yes.
Unless people have information and have courage to face those problems. That's who I am.
Yes.
And God has wired us differently. Our leader, Apostle John Kimani William, has been sharing about becoming a kingdom builder. My ministry is called Kingdom Builders.
Yes.
And the reason why it's called Kingdom Builders is because God has called me to build. And my specific line of building is building people.
You build people.
You build people.
Wow.
Yes.
That is awesome. Na karibu sana. You've been a great blessing to us and to the body of Christ and to the nation.
Yes.
Kwa sababu especially when you're dealing, especially within the TVET, you know, the TVET itself. Siku ya leo, I think kuna mtu nilikuwa nazungumza na yeye.
Yes.
Akasema inakaa ni kama in the coming future or in the near future, kazi nyingi zinaenda kwa AI. Lakini kuna kazi AI haiwezi kukusaidia.
You're right.
Haiwezi kufix pipe ya maji home. Maji pipe kitoboka home. AI haiwezi kusaidia.
Hata haiwezi kukuondolea stress. Actually inaongeza
stress. Now, last week,
yes,
tuka touch on stress in men, na tukaguza kidogo on types of stress.
Exactly.
Maybe in a nutshell.
Yes.
Unaweza kutukumbusha kidogo tu, maybe what are these types of stress? Ndio sasa tuingie kwa topic ya leo.
Yes.
Yeah, ndio sasa tuingie kwa topic ya leo on the causes of stress in men.
Very good.
Yes.
When you talk about stress in men, last week we talked about what is stress, and I said stress is tension. The stress is tension between you and the demands of life. You know, life has demands. Situations comes with the demand. People come to you with the demand for you to respond. And when you have inability to respond to situation, tension develop. And therefore, stress is that tension.
Yes.
Stress is when you are facing a challenging situation or a situation that need you to act, and the tension that comes from the demand to act, that's what we refer to as stress. Stress is triggered by so many things in this life. Sometimes you have stress because of positive things. Sometimes you have stress because of negative things.
Yes.
People can cause you stress and situations can cause you stress. So one of the things I want to tell the viewer today is that stress is common to all people. There are a few things we said about stress. Number one, we said stress is universal. Stress is common to all people. The rich and the poor face stress. The ignorant and the wise face stress. And we said even the rich get more stressed than the poor, because handling wealth is difficult than handling poverty. So stress is universal. And the other thing we said about stress is inevitable. You cannot evade stress.
Yes.
You can only manage stress, reduce stress. You can only adapt to stress, but you can never avoid stress. Something else that is very important for me to mention here, that probably the viewer missed to understand. Sometimes you define something, it's good to say what something is not.
Yes, welcome back. This is Men Matters Friday, and siku ya leo tunazungumza masuala ambayo inasumbua wanaume, and these are issues of stress. And tulianza last Friday, yes, na siku ya leo niko pamoja na Reverend Sammy Mahoya, who is a principal of KTTI, a pastor, a trainer, na anafungua watu kichwa na toolbox ya kubadilisha akili za watu. You know, he's a capacity builder. All right, thank you so very much kwa kuwa pamoja nasi. You can get to our Facebook page pale katika MBCA TV. Yeah, that's where you get to comment, that's where you get to share, that's where you get to like what we are doing right here today. Na tukakuuliza swali, what are the major signs of stress in men? What are the major signs of stress in men? You can contact us, ama you can engage with us on MBCA TV Facebook page pale, tujibu pale, and then also as you give me the answer to the question ambayo nilikuwa nimeuliza pale awali. Lakini kwanza, kabla hatujaingia katika kuangalia what stress is not kwa sababu tumeambiwa what is stress, lakini sasa tujaambiwa what stress is not. Now before we know what stress is not, nataka kwanza tuende pale kwa street. Yeah, nataka tuungane na our reporters pale in the street, watuambie what are people saying on the streets regarding men and stress.
Habari?
Mzuri.
Kwa majina unaitwa nani?
Cyrus Kamau.
County gani?
Laikipia County.
So tunapata kuuliza swali ambalo tunasema hivi, ni changamoto zipi ambazo wanaume wanapitia sasa hivi?
Changamoto ni mingi bro kwa wanaume saa hii. Ya kwanza, wenye maisha iko juu. Mpaka mtu ang'ang'ane kabisa ili awekelee kitu kwa meza, atumanie wazazi kitu, yeye mwenyewe ajihimu mahitaji yake. Unakuta hata jioni ukienda nyumbani unabaki na sufuri, hauna anything. Na pia unategemea keshoe uamkie. Kwa hivyo inabidi mwanaume mahali yako ajitume zaidi na zaidi. Tusipoangalia vizuri, tutaweza pata hata wanaume wanapiga block, kichwa ishaharibika. Kwa hivyo mwanaume hayuko mahali vizuri, ako mahali mbaya.
Kusipokea changamoto ya kifedha, kuna changamoto nyingine ambao wanaume hupitia?
Iko juu unaweza pata mwanaume pengine hakuenda shule na anahitajika na awe ameenda mbele kidogo ili akimu mahitaji ya familia yake. Unaweza pata school fees hakupata, hiyo inabidi arudi nyuma tena. Kwa hivyo mambo ni mingi bro kabisa.
Huku mashida zenye tunapita, mashida ni mingi huku sana manzee. Huku hadi vitu zimepanda bei, unga, kazi hakuna. Manzee tuko na shida mingi sana bro. Manzee tunajaribu tu kuomba hii gava manzee, hadi makazi hakuna. Tuliambiwa by the way kazi tunapata na hakuna. Kuna kazi tuko nayo manzee. Huku tu ni hakuna wera, kuna aje. Manze hatuna mambo mingi ya kusema. Huku tumekasirika sana.
Juu unapata vitu zishaanza kupanda hadi saa hii nikifanya hii mboka bana, vitu zenye zinatoka hadi China bado zishapanda. Unalipisha tu customer tu in case tu upate tu enye tu utapata tu upate tu ya kukula, lakini huwezi eka hadi familia fiti. Unaget?
Na mimi naweza sema hivi, wanaume hupitia challenges mingi juu ndio wanashikilia familia. Naweza pata mwanaume ndiye analipa nyumba, ndiye analisha familia yake, na kwa upande wa wanawake unapata bibi naye analea watoto huko nyumbani. So mwanaume ndiye breadwinner wa nyumba. So hizo challenges wanaume wengi hupitia mambo mingi, lakini hawezi onyesha familia yake juu anaona familia yake kaa itaanguka. So anaamua kunyamaza na hiyo stress. Baadhi yao unapata wengine sasa watu wengine wanawasoma juu wanaona already wako na stress. So hizo stress hizo zinachangia wanaume wengi kuingia kwa pombe, wanaingia kwa madawa juu anashindwa ataabia nani juu unajua hakuna mwanaume baba mwingine. So wanaume wana end up wengine wanajitoa uhai juu wanakosa kuvumilia. Juu hizo stress pia zinachangia wanaume kama tuseme kama saa hizi umeenda kufanya kazi, umerudi kwa nyumba na hujapata kitu. So unaona uwezi abia bibi hauna pesa. So inabidi wewe uvumilie, unakaa nao, unaamkia hiyo siku nyingine unaangalia kama utapata pesa hiyo siku nyingine. So unapata wanaume wanapitia challenges mingi, na ningeomba hata serikali kama iko na uwezo inaweza saidia kuempower wanaume. Juu siku hizi tunaona kama hustler fund, kuna women fund. Pesa kaa hizo za serikali zingine zikuja kwa wanaume wapewe pesa mingi juu ndio wanashikilia familia sana, na kazi ya wanawake wanatusaidia kulea. Although baadhi yao kuna wengine wako na kazi.
Na askari wakikuja hapa wanashikaga sisi, akikutisha 500 hata unashindwa wewe, kama hujakula 500 utapata, huwezi pata hiyo 500, unakuja utatini idleness. Ni kazi hatuna, ndio wanatushikaga ovyo ovyo hapa. Watu wengi wanakuaga hapa wajaajiriwa, ni kujitafutia, wanajitafutia gia.
Najua kuna challenges ambazo nimesikia, zingine ambazo sikujua kama ni challenges. Well, kuna wale wanasema kama kuna uji wa mwisho wakisema ya kwamba polisi hata wakikuja hapo hawashiki wanawake, wanashika tu wanaume peke yake. As in, I think that is like stereotyping or something. Lakini pia kuna mmoja amesema kuna challenge hata ya kuwa provider. Is that a challenge?
Yeah, it's a challenge to be a real man. It's a challenge to be a provider. That's why men who provide for the families and take care of their children have stood to the challenge. But I would say it is
a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge. Yeah, it's not easy to be a provider, taking care of your family and everything, ensuring every one of them is happy. Is this challenge, and especially some fathers have got more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 children. So you can imagine that challenge.
Yes.
I still remember how my father and my mom used to provide for us. We are born 10, and I could see 10 plates spreading like this, and every plate has food. And you can imagine, as a firstborn, I watched that. So I could tell at some point there is no food in the house, and we are forced to go with my mother to look for any kind of job so that the other children could eat. So I would definitely agree with that man. Being a provider is a challenge.
Yes.
And men who provide for their family have stood to the challenge.
So wakati mwingine wakati tunafikiria mambo ya heroes, I think there are times when we need to think of these men as heroes. Anyone who has
men who provide for their families,
yes,
for sure they are heroes. And any man who is listening to us and you are a good provider, indeed you are a hero in this world. Providing for your family, you are a hero.
Wow, awesome.
You are.
Now,
Because weak men don't provide for their families.
yes. That is why hata Biblia inasema ya kwamba watu lazima wa provide the family, otherwise watakuwa condemned to the other category of the unbelievers, the infidels.
Exactly.
All right. So sijui kama kuna mwingine hapo ambaye amesema kitu ambacho you'd like to comment about before we go to what stress is not.
I think I captured the man who said that maisha imekuwa ngumu, and that's why men are stressed.
Yes.
He's saying one of the causes of stress in men is because life has gone up. But I must also say, I totally agree with him. Life has gone up. A lot of stresses are affecting people. But it's good as a man to think about strategies of adapting to the current life we are living in.
Yes.
So don't force things as a man. Try to downgrade where necessary. If life is not making sense at this moment, you can always downgrade and go down 1 or 2, 3 steps to what you can manage.
Yes.
So don't try to fight stress by maintaining your standard of life. Sometimes you come down. There are times you reduce what you consume, you reduce the kind of house you're living in. You can always downgrade to handle stress. So I agree life is difficult, challenges are so many, but I also believe God is there, and we cannot join the choir of singing problems. We have to adjust and be able to focus on what is working.
Wow, that's awesome and very well put. And now maybe back to where we were. Niulize swali. Mimi najua stress ni nini?
Yes.
Okay. What is it that maybe I may defining stress as,
yes.
It is not?
In this life, last time we talked about what stress. I am looking at this scripture here. John 16:33. I have told you these things so that in me you have peace. In this world you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world.
Yes.
One other thing I would want to begin by saying, Jesus said, in this world we will suffer many trouble. That is to say, life will never be free from trouble. I have heard people say, me, I don't want trouble. But you'll be troubled even when you don't want. Even when you don't want trouble.
Yes.
And that makes us ask ourselves a very important question. If Jesus said we are going to have many troubles, then stress is those troubles. And they can never be evaded.
Yes.
And we all know that tension is not going to go. But there are times, my brother, we associate other things to stress that are not stress at all. And I would like to mention a few here. One of the things stress is not a sign of weakness. When Jesus said, in this world you will suffer many trouble, you can be strong and be troubled. So you can be strong and you are suffering stress. Actually,
yes.
Even when you become great in life, stress will still attack you on top there. You've heard John Maxwell say, it is lonely at the top. Because when you are highly blessed, you are a leader, you are financially stable, you still have stress because of those blessings. And therefore we cannot associate stress with weakness. I do believe there are people who can arouse stress because of a weakness, 1 or 2. But because stress is universal and equalizes all people, we cannot say stress is a sign of weakness. It's not weak people who have stress, it's all people. Weak, strong, rich, poor, male, female, all people.
Someone said,
yes,
the rich also cry.
The rich also cry.
Yes.
And men also cry. Really, men
yes,
cry.
Yes.
So number 2, stress is not permanent conditions. It's good to help every man understand that if you are going through any stress, it's not a permanent condition. Actually, stresses are temporal. Provided you have strategies and ways of addressing this stress, there's no stressful condition that remains forever. It's good to help every person handling stress. Any man handling stress now to understand stress is not a permanent condition.
Yes.
You know, sometimes people, when they are stressed, they make permanent decisions. But because it's not a permanent condition, it should not be it should not warrant for permanent decisions. Sometimes you see families are going through hard times and the wife is stressed and you decide to leave that marriage, file divorce and cause separation. Sometimes you really need to find ways first on how to manage the stress because stresses are not permanent condition. The next thing is
so maybe then I think on that they may not be permanent. That means today I may be dealing with this type of stress. Tomorrow I'll be dealing with another stress.
Exactly.
But not this one.
Yes.
So if I make a permanent decision based on this one, tomorrow another type of stress will manifest itself.
And you keep on making so many permanent decisions because of stress. And that's why a lack of information about handling stress has cost people a lot. Because you are stressed, you made a very serious decision because of stress. Sometimes we say, when you are highly stressed, don't make decisions that are permanent. Try to handle to calm your heart, deal with your mind, and then try to adjust few things before you make a decision.
Sure.
Because stress is never a permanent condition. And one of the challenges we have is people who make decisions that are permanent because they are stressed. You leave a job because you are stressed. Sometimes those stresses in the workplace do come to an end.
Yes.
Some of them are brought by misunderstandings. Some of them are brought by time is not yet.
Yes.
For things to be addressed.
Yes.
So those situations in the workplace can also bring stress. But it's not good to make permanent decisions because stresses are temporal.
Right.
They are not permanent.
Awesome.
The third one, stress is not a character flaw. Character flaw, I mean, it doesn't mean you have a character problem.
Sio kwa sababu ya tabia mbaya.
You know, si tabia mbaya. You can be a well-behaved person, holy and God-fearing, and still suffer stress. It doesn't mean you have bad habits. It doesn't mean your character is wanting. As a man, you are not suffering stress because you lack character. Sometimes even you can be upright, God-loving, well-behaved, and you're still going to face a lot of stress in your life. And then the next thing is the issue of it's not a sign of failure.
Yes.
You know, sometimes people think because you are stressed, you are failed. Actually, success comes with a lot of stress than failure. Yeah. You know, failure, you are being stressed of managing something that didn't work. But here you are managing things that worked, and maintaining what is working is very hard.
Somebody said that failure is an orphan.
Failure is an orphan, doesn't have ownership.
no one wants to associate with them.
Everybody wants to associate with the...
But success attracts everybody. Yes.
Yeah, failure is a child of nobody, and everybody wants to associate with the success.
Yes.
And therefore we see people who are stressed as failures. Sometimes as a man you feel stressed and you think you are a failure. Stress does not mean you have failed. Stress simply means you are trying. And actually, I always say, instead of seeing stress as failure in life, see stress as an opportunity to learn new things, to change your tactics. See stress as a way of addressing problems in a different angle.
Sure.
It's not one size fit for all. Stress is not a one size fit for all.
Yes.
That's number 5. When you are going through stress, you are not going to face stress another is facing. And therefore, I always advise people, never tell someone, why are you stressed of small minor things?
Kitu kama ina kupea stress.
Mimi nasumbuliwa na vitu kubwa hapa nayo unaniletea stress ndogo ndogo hazina miguu. You see, stress is not one size fit for all.
Yes.
Naonanga, we need to be like our God. Kijana anapoteza ile taya. Unajua anakuwa na stress kubwa sana.
Yes.
Taya ikiibiwa.
Yes.
Ile vitu tulikuwa tunaita mufara kitambo.
Yes.
Hiyo taya ikiibiwa, kijana ako na stress za kutosha. Usimwambie taya ni nini.
Taya ni nini sasa? toa ujinga hapa. Kwani unanishwa na nini hiyo kwanza?
Baba anamwambia unasumbuliwa na taya hapa wakati mimi nasumbuliwa na gari. Alafu nakuta neighbor ameibiwa baiskeli.
Yes.
Stress zake pia ziko kiwango cha juu kwa sababu hiyo baiskeli inaleta stress. And then kuna neighbor jirani mwingine motorbike ndio imeibiwa. Stress zake bado ziko juu.
Wakati waliiba wheelbarrow yangu.
Yes.
That thing caused me stress.
Wheelbarrow.
Yes.
Inaweza kukustress mpaka urali. Unakasirika.
Ndio ilikuwa my office at one point. Then mali nilikuwa nakaa wakati huo ndio nilikuwa natumia kwenda kuchota maji ama kuteka maji. And then nimeteka maji nimeweka tu hapo nje ya nyumba, nikiingia kwa nyumba kutoka haiko.
Imeenda.
Hiyo kitu nimpea stress.
And one day I was living with a neighbor.
Yes.
This neighbor ameibiwa gari na mimi nilibua viatu.
Yes.
Sasa mimi naona vile anapidua mawe kwa gari. Niko na stress zangu za viatu. Nilikuwa na one pair. We were living in a plot, ilikuwa na mwizi. Sasa ameiba kiatu nilitoa viatu nikaacha hapo nje ziko sawa.
Yes.
Then nikirudi nisivae niende na kuta zimeenda.
Yes.
Naye neighbor ameibiwa gari. Yeye anatafuta gari chini ya mawe. Unajua kuna kitu na stress kama kuibiwa gari.
I can feel for him.
Wale watu wanaibaga gari wanakoseanga sana.
Yes.
Hiyo kitu ni stressful. Alikuwa anaangalia funguo anasema nani kona fungu?
Inaweza kuwa wapi?
Anarudi kwa nyumba anaitafuta bedroom. Anarudi anaangalia kwa stair, anapidua mawe. Na mimi niko na stress ya kiatu hapa. Na mimi namwambia mzee nani wameenda na gari? Unajua hata mimi nimeibiwa viatu. Sasa unaongea mambo ya viatu na gari.
Lewe yako ni unajua you don't have another pair. So
no, I don't have another.
Ameguza mwenye ameiba, ameguza moyo wako.
Hiyo stress kwangu ni nyingi. Naye ako na stress ya gari maana hiyo ndio kiwango yake.
It's true.
So that's what you are saying. Stress is not one
size fits for
all.
Yes.
And you can find the way God handles us is the way we should handle people. Mtu kijana wa taya akienda kwa Mungu anamfariji. Babake ameibiwa baiskeli, Mungu anamfariji. Neighbor yao alipoteza motorbike, bado anapata faraja za Mungu. Yes. Alafu nakuta kuna mzee hapa ndege yake ilikataa kuguruma, ana stress, Mungu anamfariji. Na kuna mtu hapa ni mokoko imeenda.
Yes.
Na bado anapata faraja za Mungu.
It's true.
Because God understands we are all at different equal stages. Unequal stages.
Yes.
And we need encouragement where everybody is. So stress is not fit for all. Never tell a man you are stressed by silly things. Never tell another person you are stressed. Remove your stress here. I have big things to worry about.
Yes.
It is never a good thing to do because it's not one size fit for all. And the other thing is, it's not an excuse for mistreating others. Let me tell you something. Majority of men, when they have stress, is when they molest their wives, is when they beat children like animals, is when they behave unbecomely. Simply because you have stress, you can do anything to people. Stress is not an excuse. It's not a leeway of misbehaving as a man. You can be stressed and allow your family to have peace.
Yes.
You can be stressed at workplace, but don't carry your stress to home.
Not transfer the stress.
Don't transfer them, don't misplace them, and don't suppress them. Suppressing is, and maybe in the future we are going to look at different ways of not handling stress. And one of those ways is transferring stress, or you misplace them. You realize when a man is stressed at workplace, and he go home, he stresses the wife. The wife is not able to face this man, stresses the boy.
The children.
The child is not able to face the mother, he stresses the dog. The dog is not able to face the boy, stresses the chicken. And eventually you realize the whole compound, human and animals, is chaotic because stress is being transferred.
Yes.
And you know you can transfer your stress to animals.
Yes.
And they can catch your stress. And then they start behaving according to the atmosphere of the compound. So stress is not an excuse for you to mistreat your family, your workers, to mistreat people around you. Always differentiate what is causing stress to you because it's not an excuse.
Yes.
May I also say, it's not a justification for for neglect or self-care. You know, there are people who say, why are you not taking shower? I'm stressed. Mbona uogi? Ni stress.
So anaingia into self pity.
Mbona umevaanisha hivyo? Nasikia nikiwa na stress hastaki kuvaa nguo mzuri. Mbona hujatalika kitanda? Ni stress. Mbona nyumba hujaosha? Ni stress. So you realize kuna watu
ile stress niko nayo.
Yes.
Mimi sisikii kufanya anything.
Exactly. And that is how people behave. Have you ever seen men who are stressed? Unakuta hataki kuamka, hataki kuvaa vizuri, hataki kutoka nje akashughulike. So men have always used stress as a reason for not being responsible.
An excuse.
It's an excuse. Some even want to sleep the whole day. Why? I'm stressed. Some don't want to talk to anybody in the house. Why? I'm stressed. Stress is not an excuse for you to be something else. Actually, you should see stress as a way of sitting down and see how you can incorporate your family to help you handle it. Maybe unless they are stress you don't want to share, because their men have stresses they don't want anybody to know.
I was thinking earlier on that stress na pressure
Yes.
kama kitu moja. When you're stressed, it's like you are under pressure.
Exactly.
And many things I've actually observed, vitu mingi zina happen kwa sababu kuna pressure. Hata unajua hata kukata mkate, it's because you exert some pressure.
You're right. You're right.
Even for, you know, the rule, the diamonds, you know, it said that you know, diamond is the hardest mineral, and it's made under the highest pressure. Ndio utengeneze diamond, si hata kama gold, sio kama hii mawe tunaona hapa. It is under the highest pressure and heat, and then you get something yenye dunia mzima inaikimbilia. So how you handle it, the issue is not the stress, the issue is not the pressure. I think the issue is how you handle it, and the final outcome.
The issue is your response, because we said earlier, stress is not what is happening to us. Stress is how we respond to what is happening outside us. Stress has nothing to do with what is going on in you.
So eburudia hiyo kwa sababu I think that's a powerful.
Yes, I'm saying stress is not what is happening in us. Stress is about what is happening outside us. It's our response towards outside stressors. So if you can work on inside and calm your inside and deal with the man inside, the outside is where stress is coming from. You don't stress yourself inside. Things comes from outside, and that really require you act, and you feel inability to act. You feel inefficient of many things, and you want to respond. So stress is about our response. That has to do with our strategies of dealing with stress. It has to do with our responses toward the stress. So it's not what is happening in us, it's what happens outside us. So it's response that matter.
Wow.
So and when you say I am under pressure because of stress, it's because you are refusing to approach the outside matter without bringing them inside you. So when you bring whatever is going on into your mind and heart and lock them there, then you are actually mismanaging stress, and it's going to mishandle you.
It's going to have a negative impact.
A great negative impact.
All right.
Then the other thing we can say on number 8, stress is inevitable. We said we are talking about what stress is not. It's not inevitable. Never believe the preacher who tells you you're not going to suffer stress, you're not going to get sick, you're not going to struggle. Let me tell you, struggle is part of life curriculum. There's no way you can live this life without struggle, because what do you think? This mother who have been given 3 children, or triplets, and they are here. One is crying, the other one is playing, the other one is asleep, and you have managed all of them. Do you see those blessings comes with some stress? But they are blessings.
Yes.
What about this man who have been blessed with, maybe there are 4 buses, traveling to Mombasa, to Nairobi, failing people.
Yes.
And they are yours. Managing the drivers and the policemen. By the way, unajua industry ya mabasi ndio stressful, inaua wanaume haraka sana. Transportation industry.
Na hakufi kwa sababu ya kuanguka na hiyo gari.
Yes.
Anakufa akiwa kwake amekuwa
no, unakaa hapo unaona simu ya dere. Gari imeua mtu.
Unasikianga nikasikia mwingine ampiga simu. Hello? Hiyo mafuta ilikuwa sawa kweli? Mafuta kwa nini? Ni kama ilikuwa ya ndege. Ukisikia ni kama ilikuwa ya ndege, ngojea gari juu ya nyumba mahali.
Unajua inaleta
hebu ingia WhatsApp. Eti fulani ni kama hizo miguu za gari zilikuwa zimefungwa vizuri. Nini mbaya? Hebu ingia WhatsApp. Sasa ukisikia ingia WhatsApp, unasikia mimi anasema si ingia WhatsApp siku mbili.
And you see, one of the reason I'm saying stress is inevitable is for people to understand. When you see someone who is highly blessed, don't always think they have an easy life.
Yes.
Because all God's blessings comes with some level of responsibilities.
Yes.
And those responsibilities are not going to be easy. When you have many workers, you really have to deal with some funny workers.
It's true.
And yet you have employed many workers because you have a big job.
It's true.
But then and you have big opportunity to help them.
It's true.
But you will have some stressing you. So it's good for every man to know you will never avoid stress. You will never run away from stress. You will never live life completely free from stress. So when a pastor tells you you're not going to suffer stress, that's a liar. You're not going to face trouble, that's a liar. You're not going to get sick, that's a liar. I release the grace free from stress, that's a liar. Because even grace, the grace of God, adds more stress. Because handling heavy level of grace is stressful. Walking with God is stressful. Living a holy life is stressful. So stress is inevitable. We have to keep on responding to issues. Even when God speaks to you, it's so stressful. I don't know whether you have ever had a voice of God that demands responsibility or obedience. And you hear how stressful it is. When God is, like for example, remember the case of Jehoshaphat. When Jehoshaphat is saying the Mahoya, Jebusite and the rest have come to attack the children of Israel. And when they are coming to attack, God is telling Jehoshaphat, wake up in the morning, prepare the praise and worship team,
yes.
Don't carry any weapon, and face the army. And you see, he is facing 3 nations united, Mahoya, Jebusite, and the other one I don't remember. And they had united. Then God is telling Jehoshaphat, you have to face the army with no weapon. And then you are going to lead them, praise and worship, sing. Just go with singing.
Yes.
Do you think, even though the story is told in the Bible of how God confused the enemies and they fought against one another,
yes.
In the heart of Jehoshaphat, obeying that is so stressful. How can I face 3 nations armed, yes. Armed fully to attack us, empty-handed? Even the demands of God comes with a level of stress.
So that means you have to be strong.
You have to be strong.
Even just like Abraham and najaribu imagine even the kind of the saga it caused kwa Sarah. You know, akisikia ati anaangalia mzee hajarudi, and then anaona Isaac amekuja hapa mbio akihema. Mwambie madeni najua aje nilikuwa karibu kuchinjwa. Hiyo in itself sio kitu like that kidogo. And now
maybe I said the last one.
Yes.
The last one is that stress is not a sign of spiritual immaturity or lack of faith.
Yes.
Believers have tendency to associate stress to something demonic, stress to lack of faith in God. Stress is also associated among the Christians to lack of spiritual growth, lack of understanding the word. Even when Jesus says, do not be worried about anything. He himself was also disturbed and stressed. In fact, when he was to face the cross, he said, my heart is so distressed to a point of death.
Yes.
And Jesus handled stress. Sometimes we hear he cried. Sometimes he was sad. Sometimes he was angry. You remember when he found his the temple being occupied by money changers?
Yes.
Jesus was so stressed and he actually had to fight. So there is no way we can associate stress to spiritual immaturity, because stress is actually tension between what you are and demands.
The forces out.
Yes, the things outside facing you.
Yes.
And I can say to all men who are born again, never associate stress as a sign of immaturity, as lack of trust in God, as lack of understanding the word, as stress as a sign of lacking true spiritual foundations. And I would say, actually being a Christian brings a lot of stress, because you have to behave like a Christian in all situations. Like I try to imagine one day, my brother, I had good stress.
Yes.
I hit someone with my car.
Yeah, and I see. I'm told that we have about a minute here.
Yes, I hit someone with my car.
Yes.
And then I want us to talk. He's calling everybody.
Kujani.
Then he is taking a video, and I'm a pastor. So I took his phone. Then he started shouting and calling everybody. You know, I had hit a very small thing. So it was not a big
You wanted
damage.
to settle it.
Yes, and I wanted to give him the money he needed. But he said, if I give him money, he said, I don't want your money. And then I wondered why. Do you know I had to get in my car and then I ran away? But let me tell you, why I ran away, number one, when I was so stressed.
Yes.
Because I knew you would take this to Facebook, social media.
Yes.
So again, it will trend and I'll have a lot of challenges.
Yes.
You see, being a Christian in that situation, so stressful. Sometimes you want to remain a believer in all situations. You see, being a Christian will also come with stress. But what we are saying here is not about demonizing stress. It's about understanding stress and handling stress in a proper way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And this is a great one. Unajua, mambo ya stress, what I've come to learn is that stress, you cannot really handle it in one sitting. I think it's really broad, and we have to invest more time in stress. We have to invest more time in stress. Learning it and knowing the causes, even the root causes, how to manage it, how to treat it, na mambo haya yote. And you see, today, for the first time on Men Matters, we have this segment. It's Men and Rights, Men and Rights. And that's where we be. Tutakuwa tunafikisha our discussion for today, and that's where we will end our discussion.
Right.
And then we get the next segment. So maybe in a minute, because about now I borrow a minute of Men and Rights, and maybe a parting shot, maybe something in less than a minute, maybe that you can tell men about stress, and then we'll come back next Friday and to complete that part.
What I will say to all men, arm yourself for stress, because stress is here to be. Stress is part of your life, and one of the way God teaches us how to grow, how to become, and how to respond is allowing stress our way. And I'll tell every man, stress is part of God's curriculum to make you, to build you, to direct you, to challenge you, and to mature you. So as a man, be ready to handle stress. Don't run away from them. It's not a sign that you have a problem. It's a sign that you are living. So my parting shot to all men, handle stress with courage. Face it, stress and you will never separate. You only handle one and you handle another. But among those stresses, you grow, you mature, you succeed, and at the end you are also happy. God bless you.
Wow, thank you so much, Reverend Sami Mahoya, even for creating time to be with us today. Sasa hivi ningependa tuweze kuingia katika this next segment, this section ya Men and rides. Until next Friday, see you and stay blessed. Now manage stress vizuri. Thank you so very much.